Why do cops get to break the law? You've probably seen it yourself. A police car approaches the intersection where the lights are red. The cop turns on their lights, drives through the intersection, turns their lights off, and then just keeps on going. Or how about this? The fine for driving while talking or texting, distracted driving, is extremely high. And upon conviction, your license is suspended and your insurance goes up. And insurance is already too expensive as it is. But you drive around and you see cops on the phone. And they're allowed to do it. Listen, some of these things I've done myself, okay? Full disclosure. I've posted law enforcement awareness videos for many years now. And I've received thousands of comments calling cops hypocrites, using the term rules for thee but not for me. And listen, those are just the polite ones, okay? I've addressed some of these comments in the past, but I figured I'd do it again in this video for all those in the back where you just didn't see it. You might not like or agree with what I have to say about some of these exceptions, but I'm going to say it anyway. And there's also a difference between breaking the law and breaking rules and procedures. I'm going to say something that's probably going to make some police departments cringe, and I bet most cops don't want me to admit, but police break their own departmental rules and procedures every single day. And to be honest, they should. It's a good thing. And I'm going to explain why. I think even most members of the public would agree that this is a good thing and it should probably continue. That's for another video. I'll probably do it in another week or so. I still need to film it. And to be honest, it just kind of came to my mind this morning. So I just have to flush out some of the details. First, let's cover cops turning on their lights to get through the intersection, driving through, and then turning them off. Yeah, I agree. The optics are bad, but it's often very necessary. And again, full disclosure, I've done it. Something you don't realize until you've driven in a police vehicle is that all kinds of odd things happen on the roads around cop cars all day long. Whether you're driving on the highway or on a busy city street, when many people see a police vehicle, they immediately check their speed. They check to make sure they're wearing their seatbelt. Some people, even if they're driving along, they're not doing anything wrong at all. They slow right down. They even hit their brakes, causing accidents, rear enders. Everybody thinks that when there's a cop car behind them, that the police are watching them. And they're probably not. When I was a newer police officer, just a few months on the job, I finished my training with my coach officer. It was one of the first times that I was in a police car alone, solo, and that's a heck of a moment. Anyways, I was driving northbound on Yonge Street, and there was all kinds of buildings with glass, and I looked over and I saw the cop car, and immediately, even I got that same reaction, like I'm doing something wrong. I know that sounds ridiculous, okay? But I got the same reaction looking over, seeing the police car, and I was the one driving the police car. It was just, it's absolutely ridiculous, but hey. But all day long, these things happen. And when there's an emergency and your equipment is activated, it's even worse. We all know the correct thing to do when you hear or see an emergency vehicle on the road with their emergency equipment activated is to pull to the right, okay? We all know that. But some people just panic and they slam on their brakes. When the drivers hear a siren, they slow down, they check their seatbelt, they throw away their phone, they question every wrong decision they've ever made in life. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to walk you through a very real scenario, okay? And again, I've been through it myself as a police officer in full uniform in a police vehicle. But pretend that you're a cop. You get a call for a break and enter. 2 suspects on scene. It's midnight. The caller's watching them on camera. If you immediately activate your license sirens and race there, the suspects are probably going to hear that and take off. You want to get there in a hurry, but it's not like there's a fight or something in progress where you want people to hear you and stop right away. You want to be strategic in your approach. You make your way there, coordinating with other units, blocking off the area, setting up a perimeter, maybe arranging an approach for canine. And of course, you want to do this without the suspects knowing. Every now and then you pass an intersection and you don't have too much time to waste. So you activate your rooftop lights, make sure the intersection is clear, and if it's safe to proceed, you drive on through. Now, everybody around you that saw that is wondering, what the hell did this cop just do? How is this fair? I've already admitted that the optics are bad, but what I'm saying makes sense. And I think that most people would agree with that. Let's get into distracted driving and police exemptions. But before I do, something that you might find interesting. Have you ever wondered what happens when police pull you over? What takes them so long to approach your vehicle sometimes, or what's taken them so long after you give them your information and they go back to their vehicle? What information can they find out about you from your driver's license or the license plate? Can they view your criminal history or the history of the person the vehicle's registered to? I made a video not too long ago that walks you through the entire process from beginning to end. I'm going to link it up at the end. I just figured I'd throw it out there. You might find interesting. And listen, if you find this stuff interesting, please feel free to like this video. Cops and distracted driving. I get more negative comments about cops using their cell phones while driving than anything else. Yes, there are exemptions, but it's not right across the board. Police can't just chat to their significant other all day while driving around. It's got to be for police use during the course of the duties. But still, people get upset. They say there's a radio in the car, so police don't need to use a cell phone at all. All I can do is give a few explanations. Whether you accept it or not, that's up to you. Yes, there is a radio in the car. If it's a busy shift, and which most of them are these days, the radio is going to be going off nonstop. Or better yet, it's not a busy shift. There just happens to be more than one high priority call on the go, which also isn't uncommon these days at all. You could have multiple shootings or robberies, not just in your division or precinct, but the neighboring division and precinct. The dispatcher is doing their best to get out as much information as possible over the air while assigning cars and taking in all the information. En route, you might need to connect to the emergency task force or SWAT team, guns and gangs task force, connect with other uniform responding officers who are also attending and planning how to approach the scene. I mentioned canine in my earlier example. There's cases where the suspect or the victim might be in the rear seat and you need to have a conversation about a sensitive matter that they probably shouldn't hear. Yeah, sure, there's earpieces which are connected to the radio and it's constantly going off in your ear, but not for the phone. And you can't have two separate earpieces for two separate devices while also trying to gauge everything that's happening around you. It's not safe. It's not practical. If there's lots going on and the police radio is nonstop, you need another form of communication. There could be many other reasons why emergency services personnel might need to use their cell phones during the course of the duties. They shouldn't just be chatting with their spouse about what they have for dinner later on, planning a grocery order. That goes without saying, okay? I'm going to get into a story. I do every video. When I was a teenager driving in Surrey, BC, northbound on Scott Road, going home at night, I was behind an RCMP cruiser. The light turned yellow. The cop turned their lights on, kept driving through the intersection. When it was red, turned them off, and a couple 100 feet later, they pulled in to grab a coffee. And I know this because I was also grabbing a coffee. I ended up in the lineup right behind them. This bugged me for years because it's a true case of taking advantage of your position, and I was always cognizant of that while driving around a marked police vehicle myself. Some police officers have abused their privileges in the past. I'd be a fool to say otherwise. But by and large, most are decent and do not abuse their privilege. These exemptions are there for a reason, and it's a good thing. So police aren't really breaking the law because there's exemptions. There could be, again, many more examples I could get into, but these are two of the biggest because of the optics. And if you can think of more and you want me to talk about them, then just please let me know. Police are constantly pulling people over for speeding and other offenses where the driver states that it was an emergency, and that's why they were speeding. I'm going to say there's very few genuine emergencies going on out there, okay? Once you start asking questions, it's usually not the case, but let's just say that it is a case. You pull somebody over for speeding and they're on their phone. And they're on the phone with 911 because their partner's at home and there's a crime possibly being committed, or their wife is in labor and they're calling her an ambulance. You just want to get home quickly and bring them to the hospital. These situations are pretty easy to confirm, okay? But I just want to mention, police also have something very important. One of the most powerful tools, and I hate to use that word power, but it's called discretion. I don't know too many police officers that would give someone a ticket if they were dealing with a genuine emergency. And more often than not, I bet the police officer would go above and beyond to assist that person, as long as it's reasonable, of course. Warnings or cautions these days are given all the time. I gave more warnings than tickets. Nowadays, they're all kept on file. They're recorded. So the next time an officer deals with you, whether it's a traffic-related offense, trespassing, theft, if you're caught doing something hoping to get off with a warning, the cop can simply look in the computer, see that you were already given a warning for the same offense, so this time you're probably going to get charged. Anyways, I might be getting a bit off track here. I just want to say that some of my best performing videos are from addressing questions or comments or concerns left by the viewers. So if there's something you would like me to cover, maybe clear up some rumor that you've heard, please leave me a comment. I read every single one personally, and I respond when it's appropriate to do so. So listen, folks, thanks for watching this video. And until the next, be safe out there, look after one another, and perhaps we will see you again.